What is up, everyone? It is Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming, and I want to talk about. I've reviewed this game before, I've played it before, but I want to look at where it's at right now. Since its release date, multiple updates, couple DLC, real big expansion to the game, and by my understanding, more DLC and expansions to come for this game. This game was one of the most surprising games to have come out. That's a licensed game. Now, everyone knows we all have this fear when we hear a licensed game. I've said it before in my reviews, but there are also licenses, like licensed properties, IPs, that translate well over to a video game. And then in some cases, the video games are superior to the film. One of the biggest ones, X-Men Origins Wolverine, for example. That was one of the biggest things that was superior to that god-awful movie. Matrix, The Path of Neo. Solid trilogy. The video game blew the trilogy out the water. I'd rather play the video game than watch all three films again. Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. An RPG game. Final Fantasy-like, but in a way, it was equal, if not better than the movie in a lot of areas. There's just different video. Oh, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Van Helsing, Pirates of the Caribbean, you name it. There's a good amount of games with IPs that are actually really good. World War Z, the Brad Pitt film, generic zombie action fare at its best. Like I said, keyword, generic zombie fare. It's not mind-blowing, didn't have the best storytelling, but what it did do was a good few years after the movie released, we ended up getting a video game. You would think this video game would have came out to capitalize on the film, but I kind of feel that this game, it carries the World War Z name in only, just like the movie did, but this fits in the movie's universe, and it actually makes it enjoyable. It makes it fun. I mean, come on, guys. There's a plethora of weapons. Yes, you know what this is? You know what this game is? And I'm going to say it. I'm the first one to admit it. It's a Left 4 Dead clone. But the one thing that these Left 4 Dead clones do what Left 4 Dead didn't do, Left 4 Dead is just very basic. Zombie survival, get to point A to point B style. The only thing that it really has that keeps it going is the modding community. Yes, the game is fun, but it does get boring after a while. This game, multiple characters, multiple different objectives, multiple stages, multiple places to go worldwide, more weapons than Left 4 Dead. I mean, if you just take out the fucking, mods, because I'm not counting mods, I'm counting base game to base game with expansions included. World War Z kind of blows Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 out of the water with its IP. Has different game modes for people to play, competitive game modes, PvE, horde mode, the very typical standard fare that you would find in certain zombie multiplayer games. But what this one does differently is it takes game modes that are generic to other shooters or third-person games, and it gives them a little flair to it. Just like the campaign, for example. The campaign in this game, yes, straightforward. Kill zombies, do the objectives, get from point A to point B. But when you deviate, like search for collectibles in the world, like bombs to open up certain pathways to get better weapons, Left 4 Dead doesn't reward you for going off the beaten path. And 9 times out of 10, you'll actually die going off the beaten path. Here, when you go to certain places, you can manage yourself. There are special infected, but you level up your class to be able to handle this kind of threat. In Left 4 Dead, there is no leveling system. I'm not counting Back 4 Blood, its spiritual successor, because I'm eventually going to try to get back into that game, but I play this game more than I play that. And that's a testament to the license as well. You drop in, whether it be with friends or you jump in with randos, it seems like everybody knows to get to point A to point B, and it's extremely fun to play. There's something about this game where seeing that massive herd of zombies come right at you while you're getting your defenses ready and you're ready to mow them down. You know, Left 4 Dead really didn't have that. And I had Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and I liked those games, but World War Z so far seems to be the superior zombie horde shooter. You can go in, put as much time as you want, leave the game, come back to it, leave the game, come back to it. You know, it's one of those games where I guarantee if it keeps continued support, and eventually when it stops getting support, but if it continues to be cross-gen game, because right now I'm playing it on a PS5 and this is the PS4 version, and it still has a massive player base. I believe they're at the end of this month, they're going to be enabling crossplay, which will give the game even more longevity and a larger player base. If that's the one thing this game I do say it needs so far is it needs cross compatibility. That's what it's needed. That's the one thing I've been hammering that this game needs is cross compatibility. You know, it has enough content for you to have like X amount of hours of gameplay and fun. It has replayability, which is the one thing that zombie games are 50-50 with at times. And that's the one thing they need. Replayability. Give me a reason to go back out there and constantly kill things or kill the zombies. Now, this is why I say World War Z is better than Left 4 Dead so far. All you do in Left 4 Dead is you grab a character, just pick up whatever weapons, point A to point B. There's nothing, and just pick up ammo. There's no incentive to doing certain things. There's really no objectives, just get to the safe house, close the door. Here, you have to either defend people, save people. You do get from point A to point B, because that is the point. But it's what you do in between point A to point B that can keep you coming back for more and keep you going. There is a horde mode. There's also what is called challenge mode, which takes you through all the campaign levels that you already know, but there are different level parameters. There's different things that could be set that doesn't make it as easy for you to get through, even with a team. Because this game can be very challenging, especially if your team is in a position where you're either low on ammo or a herd is coming and you don't have enough to disperse. Things can get pretty hectic in this game, but it's the thrill, it's the enjoyment, and it's what's going to keep you coming back for more. I've been playing this game since I've bought it, and I don't regret my purchase. Hell, I have a lot of fun with the PvP. And PvP, yes, of course you have your team deathmatch, you have your, defense missions, capture the similar things to capture the flag, all to fit this aesthetic of the game. Instead of capture the flag, it's get the vaccine. Instead of just a regular TDM, you're not only fighting the opponents, like I've explained in a review before you've seen me stream this game, you also have to deal with the zombies. And this is what makes it even more interesting, is that players can become the zombies. If the player doesn't kill you, the zombies will. Or if you're a player on the brink of death and you get, your life very low by an enemy player, and you manage to escape and a zombie hits you, you'll just die and come back as the zombie. Which could also give you a chance, even though you don't control the zombie, which is another thing I wish they allowed. There's plenty of special infected to have a players versus infected mode, or having two teams of players and a third team being the special infected in this game while the swarms are coming in. Players have to not only fight the swarm, but they would have to fight enemy players as infected. That's something that I actually want them to add in the future if they have plans to do that, or the developers should take notes and be like, okay, we have two teams of people fighting, but what happens in the middle of a deathmatch or TDM? We have players playing as the infected. That would also make the game more dynamic and the fighting more dynamic against two teams, because it's like, what threat is more present and what threat is gonna get you the most? The zombies, the player, or the special infected? It would just add a lot more variables to the match. Don't get me wrong, I still have fun here and there. It's like the more noise you create fighting other players, like with guns going off, bombs going off, things like of that nature. the zombie hordes will hear it and it'll tell you, oh, the zombies are about to go to this part of the level, avoid that level. Or if the enemy players are in that level and you use silenced weapons, you could pick off the enemy player or damage them enough to where the zombie horde can deal with them. That's why this game gives you, playing this game gives you a lot of creative aspects to how to handle it. Yes, you can play it like a generic third-person versus shooter, but you're really missing out if you just play it like that. Use the environment, use the dead, use the weapons and abilities you have at your disposal, learn the level. Because a lot of these levels are easy and hard to remember. At the same time, there are some, obviously, that are better than others, but that's with any zombie game experience. Every zombie game has mediocre maps / good maps. I mean, look at the Call of Duty zombie series. Those maps are either 50-50 or sometimes shit. Nothing's going to be better than original Black Ops 1 and 2 maps. But World War Z still has a lot to give. And so far from its release up to this point, there's a lot more that can be done with it. And by my understanding, there's no plans in the future so far for a sequel, so they can still... I think what this game needs is they need to do a PS5 upgrade, even though it runs really good on the PS5 for being the PS4 version, and add more to that. Or use this PS4 version, keep it crossing over to new gen consoles, and just expand upon it from there. So... yeah, I mean, there's not a lot that has changed, but except the quality of life changes to the game, a lot of things in between, UI interfaces, new weapons, and everything. It's like they are expanding upon this core game. They really are. And I think they just need to continue with it. And I don't know if they are. Like I said, the one feature that they also added, which I think should have been in day one, but we have it now. You now have the ability to change the game from a third-person to a first-person perspective in campaign only. I believe it was added to the multiplayer, but I haven't tried it yet. But yes, you can switch between third-person and first-person to give you that more up-close and experience dead, fighting the dead up close, like many zombie survival shooters are, doing it in first-person. But I hope this game continues to get love and support. A lot of people find it to be an underrated hit, which it is. And World War Z, from coming from a mediocre movie to giving us a really good video game, it's come a long way. Anyway, this is Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite, and tell me what you think of World War Z so far. Catch you all later.